Fall is here, it's getting colder. It's the end of September, which means it's time for another garden tour. Even though things are starting to die, I still love this season. Let me show you what's going on in my garden. Mums are probably the most common fall flowers here up north in Zone 5, and I love them too. They come in so different colors and shapes, and these that I have are hardy mums, which means they come back every year even though it's getting pretty cold here. I planted these last year in the middle of summer, maybe late July or August, and they have been blooming beautifully the whole season, and I wasn't sure if they will come back, but they did. In the spring they were just starting to show up when tulips and hyacinths were in bloom, and then in the summer they just took off, and now they're full of buds and they bloom so beautifully. There is still some lavender blooming, but kind of finishing off. Also, my peacock gladiolas, or some people know them as peacock orchids, they are in bloom right now. And these are unfortunately not hardy to Zone 5. I believe they're Zone 7 to 10. You can leave them in ground, but in my zone, I'll have to dig them up, same as dahlias and regular gladiolas and many other flowers. Unfortunately, that's the thing we have to do here up north. Now let me show you my beautiful quince. This year is the first time it's giving me some fruit, and I'm so happy because I love quince. I love making jam or preserves out of quince. It's just delicious. I can't wait for it to ripen so I can do some more jam. My lavender clematis is still blooming. It was on for all summer long. I'm so happy I had initially planted it in my garden because it's a non-stop bloomer. Even this late in fall, it's still blooming. My red Malabar spinach is still going strong as well, also blooming the whole summer, and now it starts having some berries. Did you know that Malabar spinach has little tiny berries? Yes, they are not delicious. They are kind of bland in taste. But I do add them to our smoothies because they do have some antioxidants and vitamins. I also have a couple of eggplants here in the front, and they're still giving me their fruit. My coleus is blooming right now and kind of starting to die back, so I may need to cut some branches off to propagate. It's easily propagated by cuttings, and I think it'll make a great houseplant, so that's what I might do pretty soon. This year was my first time planting okra. I've never had it before in my garden because I'm not a fan of okra. but I like its flowers, and I decided to try growing. And I planted it kind of late, probably in June, like late June, and something had been just keep eating its leaves. So I thought I'm gonna lose it, but it actually survived, and now in the end of September, I have some okra. So now I have to either wait to gather some more or buy some from the grocery store and make some delicious okra stew. That's the only way I like eating my okra. How do you cook okra to make it taste good? Let me know in the comments below. Early in the summer, I planted some red Malabar spinach over here down by grapes, and then I forgot about it until recently I saw some pink flowers on my grapes, and I'm like, what is that? And then I looked closer and I see that it's my red Malabar spinach together with the grapes, and it looks like it's happy being here. It keeps growing more and more, taking all over this grapevine. I'm so happy I did plant it, and I will definitely plant more next year. I'm using these leaves of the spinach in my smoothies. I also add them to salads and even to stir fries and other cooked food. They taste just like regular spinach. My marigolds are still growing strong with some kale together, and now it's time to collect the seeds. I did already a lot, like I got Ziploc bags full of marigold seeds, and I don't know if I need that many. Probably I'll have to share with my friends and family. Marigolds are amazing. They grow so easy, so fast, and they bloom the whole summer. My Rose of Sharon is still blooming, and my kale is keep growing. It's a walking stick kale, which grows very tall. I actually didn't measure it, but it's about my height, which is about 5 feet. I'm short. And I keep picking those leaves to use them in smoothies, and it keeps growing. This fennel is even taller than me, but I love it. I love fennel seeds to use in my herbal teas. It's really good for digestion. So I grow this fennel specifically for the purpose of collecting seeds. I don't use the leaves. I would prefer dill instead of fennel in most dishes. I know some people love the flavor of fennel leaves, but not me. I like the seeds better. And there is a lot of the seeds that are ready to be picked, but most of them are still ripening. We've had some cool nights already, but my peppers don't mind. They're still growing and putting new fruits, and some of them are still blooming. So I'm not sure for how long we'll still have warm days, but hopefully some of these peppers will be able to mature before the hard frost comes. And this is my favorite dahlia. it keeps blooming all summer long and putting new buds, and I just love this one so much. I have several varieties around, but this one is so warm and bright and just lovely pastel colors that every time I come out I look at it and it makes me so happy. Also, my sweet potatoes are in bloom, and their blooms are so pretty. They look like morning glory, and they bloom so sparingly. Like there's one flower here, one over there. They're not like full of flowers, just occasionally they put out on the flower and that's it. And they're like, be happy, we give you these. Another plant that makes me so happy this year is eggplant. It's producing like crazy. We're actually tired of eating eggplants because there's like currently 8 eggplants on this one plant, and I have several. So yeah, too many eggplants. I already canned some. There's like 1, 2, 3 on this one, or 4. And there is a 5th one that's small. And it keeps blooming. So, I mean, I guess it wants to produce even more. Also, my celery is blooming right now because I didn't harvest it all. I was just picking the side shoots, the stems, and I guess it decided that it's time to reproduce. So it's blooming, but I'm not sure if the seeds will be able to form before the season finishes. Another beautiful plant is nasturtiums. They have been blooming the whole summer too, and I've been picking the leaves and flowers and adding them to my salads. I also made some pesto. I also pickled some nasturtiums, and I don't know what to do else. And this is my comfrey. I am growing it for medicinal purposes, but it is also great for the soil, so when I get a lot of it, I'll be able to use it as a mulch. And these are my serrano peppers, also producing heavily. And underneath here is my perpetual spinach, which is not a true spinach, but it tastes more close to chard, and I think it's from the chards family. But it looks like spinach when it has baby leaves, and it can be used the same way. Another bright spot in my garden creates this beautiful goldenrod. It's another medicinal plant that a lot of people think is like a weed, but bees love it. You can see there is a bumblebee currently snoozing on my goldenrod. They love this plant because it's a great pollinator, and it just looks so good in the garden that I love having it. And also I am planning on making some kind of a tincture or maybe apple cider vinegar infusion with the goldenrod because it's great for allergies and sinuses and other common illnesses. And these are more of my hardy mums. And also remember I planted some peas like a month ago, I believe, and so it's growing and it's currently blooming. So hopefully before it gets really cold we will have some peas. And I don't remember which variety this is because I planted a few. My herbs are still going, and this is tarragon, some more nasturtiums. I also had planted some lettuce a month ago and it is growing. Some of my tomatoes are finished by now. I actually pulled them out. They stopped producing and kind of yellowed up. But there is a few that are still going, and one of them is the San Marzano. I also have a ton of Swiss chard that I don't know what to do with. And my banana peppers are also still producing. There is a ton of kale and some bell peppers here, and more Swiss chard, of course. It just keeps growing like crazy. I keep picking and it comes back. I think unless I pull it out completely from the ground, it will keep producing. I also have these beautiful flowers that I don't remember what they are. I think it's some type of an anemone, because the flowers look like spring anemones, but it's a little bit different and it blooms in fall, so I'm not sure what it is. And this is Russian sage, which has a little tiny pretty flowers all along the stem, and it smells so good. I love it. And I also have this beautiful Spillanthus, which is known as toothache plant because it has been used traditionally for toothaches. I also have a few ghost peppers still going. I picked most of them already and made a hot sauce, but there are a few, and I'm thinking of overwintering this plant, like bringing it inside and trying to see if it will survive indoors, because peppers supposedly are perennials in tropical areas. And even though I live in zone 5, I hope I'll be able to save it because it has some buds. So I'm hoping it will bloom indoors as well, but we shall see. And I also planted some fall radishes, different varieties, I think 1 or 2 rows of each. I also sowed seeds of spinach and arugula. And let me show you my mushrooms. I had a separate video about my wine cap mushrooms, but this one is so cute. I want you to look at it. Isn't it pretty? I love mushrooms so much. And it's growing, as you can see, next to my spinach. I also have a few cherry tomatoes that are still producing, and there are a ton of green tomatoes which I hope will be able to ripen before hard frost, which is expected soon. Here in Chicago we have hard frost sometime in October, so in a week or two we will feel a real fall. But for now, let's enjoy the last days of warmth. Thank you for going on a tour with me and looking at my garden, which is starting to die back but still making me happy by producing some of the fruits and vegetables.